Hey everyone, this is Upasana Singh, SD at Flipkart, and I welcome you all to Online Study for You, a complete placement solution for everyone. Today in this video, we will look into C, we will understand what is C, we will see the introduction of C++. After understanding the C++, what is C++, what is it is used for, we will move on to the structure of C++, we will understand the structure of C++, each and every element of that structure, we will implement that structure. After this, we will look into the basics of C++. In basics, we will start with input output, then we will move on to variables, data types, and data type modifiers. At last, we will also implement each and everything we will study in this video. So make sure to watch this video till end and let's get started with C++. C++ is basically a general purpose programming language. It has object-oriented and generic programming features as well. For now, you don't need to worry about these terms. You will get to learn these terms later, and when we'll move to further concepts, and you'll automatically understand these concepts. So for now, just remember that C++ is a general purpose programming language which has features of object-oriented and generic programming. Moving on to the next point, it was developed by Bjarne Stroustrup as an extension of C language. So it was a superset of C language and it is this improved version of C language. Nowadays it is widely used for competitive programming as well. I myself do competitive programming in C++ only, and C++ can also be run on multiple platforms like be it Windows, be it Linux, be it Mac, etc. You can run it on any platform. So that's why C is very in demand and it is very widely used these days. So that was all about the introduction of C++. Let's move on to the structure of C++ so that we can start implementing some things. So this is the program structure, and this is something that every program must have in C++. We will take everything line by line. This is the header line, or this is the header, and this is something which stores the information, which contains the information of various things which we will use in a program. Like this is input output stream header, and it contains everything, all the information, all the things regarding input output of the program. Then the next line is using namespace standard. That is, we are using the namespace standard. Then we have this structure from, this is something from where the main execution of the program start, and this is known as main function. Here inside this we write the body of the program, or we write everything regarding a program here only. Then we return 0 because it is a type of function, so that's why we return things. You just need to understand in this that this is a structure, and this needs to be in every C++ program. So let's implement this so that we can get a better idea. So finally we are on a So here we are on a coding environment. Let's write a first C++ program. So I'll make file first, and we make file with the help of .cpp extension. Now let's write the program. Remembering the structure, I need to include header first, and this is hash include hash stream. Then let's write the namespace standard. After that, let's write the int main function, and this is our structure completed. So this is the structure header, then using namespace standard, and then the int main function. Inside this, we'll write everything. Here we'll write everything about the program. So before starting with the code of the program, before printing anything, before taking input any, let's see first what are comments in C++, how you can make comments in C++. So basically comments are of two types in C++. One is single line and other is multi-line comment. Single line comments are made with the help of these double slashes. This is for single line comments, and multi-line comments are made with the help of slash and star. Then they are ended with the help of star and then slash. Inside this, all the lines will be considered as comment only. Like if I'm writing this, then this, and this. then everything will be considered as comment. Comment is something that is not included as a part of the program. They won't be compiled, they won't be included as a part of the program. You can write for your understanding, like if you are writing any logic of the program, if you are writing, like if you are studying this structure, then you can write here that this is the header file, header line, and this is the namespace. And as comments are used for your own understanding, your better understanding, so that you remember things. So let's start with the input and output in C++. So for taking output, we have the keyword cout. This is the keyword, and then we use a less than sign 2 times, and then with the help of quotes, we write anything we want to print on the screen. Here I am writing hello world. So anything written inside these double quotes should be printed directly on the screen. And in C++, every line is ended with the help of semicolon. So here this is output, like this is how you print the output in C++. Cout is for printing something. Cout, full form of cout is console output, like giving the output on the console. So let's run the program so that we can see the output as well. Yeah, we got the output, and this is hello world, which was expected. Coming on to variables, variables provide us with the name, the storage that our programs can manipulate. They also take up some memory in your computer. In layman terms, variable are something which is used to store some data or of a specific type. So we'll understand this thing better by implementing. For now, let's see how we can make variable. So variables are basically composed of letters, digits, and underscore. The composition, the combination of these is known as a variable. But one thing you need to remember that two variables should begin with either a letter or underscore. For example, if I write this, then this is not a valid variable because the first letter is a number, but the first letter should be either a letter or a underscore. It cannot be any other thing. It cannot be a number. Also, thing we need to remember is uppercase and lowercase letter are distinct in C++, and this property of C++ is known as case sensitive. For example, the uppercase A and lowercase a are different in C++. This property is known as case sensitive in C++. Now let's see data types in C++. Coming on to data type specifies the type of data variable can store. When we were studying variable right now, we studied that variable can store data of a specific type. So that type is defined by data types, like whether the variable will be storing a number or a character, then that will be defined by data type. So also each data type requires some specific amount of memory. For example, integer will take 4 bytes, whereas character will take only 1 byte. So each data type requires different types amount of memory as well. Now data types, there are various data types in C++. So to ease, we have divided data types in C++ in 3 of the following types. First one is primitive, the basic types of data types, then the derived data types, and then the user defined data types. But in this video, we will only discuss about primitive data types in detail. We will discuss about derived data types and user data defined data types later in this video. So let's quickly start with the primitive data types and let's understand what primitive data types are. Coming on to primitive data types are built-in or predefined data types in C++. What this means is that C++ provide some built-in keywords and everything for these types of data types themselves. So we just need to use those keywords and everything, and we can declare a variable directly with the help of those keywords. Now there are various primitive data types in C++. So here we have integer, character, boolean, floating point, double floating point, void, and byte character. These are all the primitive data types in C++. We will understand and implement each one of them, and we will understand the difference between each of them and how much memory they take, and how we can define these data types in C++. So let's quickly implement these data types, and let's understand variables and data types by implementing them. So we are again back on our coding environment. Let's start coding, and let's start how we can declare variable and how we can make data types. For making an data types, we just need to write that keyword. For example, for integer, we have keyword int, and for declaring a variable, we write the data type, and then we write that variable name. For right now, I'm taking A as my data name, and that's it. This is the data types, and this is the variable. Now what it is signifying is that variable A is of integer type here. So the data type of variable A is integer, and A can store only integer values. I hope this is clear to you all. Now let's uh, initialize this data variable with some value, and we can write 10 here. So now we have initialized our variable, or we have defined our variable. If we'll see out A, then let's see what value we get. For now, I'm removing this line, and let's see if by implementing. So here we got 10, the value of A. So if we see out any variable directly, then it will give the value stored in that variable. Now, if I don't initialize a variable and I simply see out this, then let's see what will be the output. You can also guess and write in the comment section below. So we got 0, but here we are getting 0, but it is not the case with every time. Really, what happens is that if we don't initialize, if we don't give any value to this A, then it stores garbage value. Like it can store anything. Like it can be 1, 2, or anything. It can store anything. It will store a garbage value. So make sure you always initialize a variable, or before giving the output, you make sure that it is having some value. Also, we can take the value in this A from your keyboard as well, or from user as well. So to take the input from the user, we use the keyword cin. Cin is console input, and then we use the double greater than sign 2 times, and then we write a variable name. Now when we'll run this program, then it will ask me to enter the value of A. So here it is asking me to enter the value of A. I'm entering 12 here. Now see, it given me 12 here as the output, because I was printing A only here. Now let's write something so that you can get the clear idea. I'm writing here enter value A. Okay. Then I'm writing cout print value of A. It is asking me to enter value, and then I need to enter the value A of A. I have entered value of A. Now it is printing the value of A as 12. Print value of A equals to 12. So I hope you got this, how you can give the input, how you can get the output, how you can declare a variable, what is data types, how you define data type. Now this data type was for integer type, right? There are many others, like we have for something for character as well, we have something for boolean as well. Let's see how we can define other variables as well. So here we are. For integer, we have the keyword int, and which we have already seen. Integer takes a memory space of 4 bytes, and the range of This integer is from this to this, which is very huge in itself. And how we write integer? Int, keyword, and then variable, and then semicolon. This is how we declare integer variable. And if we need to initialize this, then we directly write the specific number we want to write. So this is about integers. And if it comes with characters, then for character we have keyword char, and we define character data type with the help of char. Typically, character data type takes only 1 byte, and the range of characters are from -128 to 127, or from 0 to 225. Now you must be thinking like why they are numbers, because like if, we for every character we have their sky values, and so that's why they are in the form of numbers. So how we declare in C++ is we write character and then the variable name, and this is how we declare character data types in C++. And if we need to initialize, then we write char a equals to, in single quote we write the value, and then we write the semicolon. So this is how we declare a character, or we define a character variable in C++. Coming on to the third, that is Boolean data type. Boolean is something which is used to store a value either true or false. So in this, to declare Boolean variable, we have data type bool, and we write bool, and then we declare it with the help of the variable, and this is how we declare Boolean data type in C++. Now moving on to some further data types, we have the next we have is the floating point. Floating point data type is used to store decimal numbers. Like if we want to store 0.1, 2.1, and so much, then we use float. Float, here what we write? We write float, variable name, and that's it. This is how we declare a floating data type or variable of float type in C++. Also, it takes about 4 bytes of memory. Now we have another one, that is double floating point. Floating points provides us a single precision, whereas a double floating point provides us with the double precision. And we used keyword double for the same, and it requires around 8 bytes of memory space. The last second is our void. Void is used when we don't have any value, then which is valueless. Void is means empty. So void, we write void. Void is mainly used when there is a function which doesn't return anything. So we will discuss void later also when we will be discussing functions. So there you will get a better idea. For now, let's understand that void is valueless or which contains nothing. The last is a void character. Void character is same as the character, but it can take much larger values, and it is generally of 2 to 4 bytes long. We define it by wchar_t, and it is mainly used when international languages like Japanese are included in the code as well. So void character is for that. So these are all the primary data types we have in our C++. Now let's how we can modify these primary data types. There are some of the things which can be used to modify these primary data types. We will see those things. So here we have our data type modifiers available in C++. There are 4 types of data type modifiers. Data type modifiers are basically which are used to modify your data type. Like if you want to make your integer to only have positive value, then you can assign unsigned in front of this. So data type modifiers are declared as that you will write data type modifier, then you write the data type, and then the variable name. So this is how you give the data modifiers in C++. And we have sign means we can have both plus to minus, and unsigned means we can have the only the positive values, that is with the plus sign we only have the positive values. And short means if we want to decrease the integer range, then we can use the short. For long, where the last one is long, if you want to increase the range of integer, then we can use long. We can also use long. So these are some of the modifiers available in C++. Let's implement some of the programs so that you can understand each and everything in C++ well. Now let's quickly implement the program with the data type modifiers and variable in one, and let's understand each and everything step by step, whatever we have learned till now. So I'm making the program, and I'm first of all declaring the header, and then using the namespace, that is standard, and then my int main function, and here I'll return 0. So this is the program, and after this what I'll do, so this time I'll take the data type char, and I'll take the variable alpha, and so this is my character, and I have taken the variable name alpha. So alpha is of the character type. So this is known as declaration of variable. Declaration of variable. Now suppose if I initialize alpha with value A. Now I have initialized my alpha with value A. Now this will be known as defining a variable. Defining a variable. So I hope you got the difference between declaration and defining a variable as well. Now to see out, to print, I'll use cout alpha, and here's the program. Now let's quickly run this program. Let's save this program and run. So here we got our output, that is alpha is equals to A. For better understanding, you can also write lines like the value of alpha is, and then you can run this program again. Then it will give the value of alpha is A. So this is how you can improvise your code as well. Apart from this, what we can do is we can give multiple things in the single cout. Like right now I am having 2 couts, and this is not looking good, right? So what I will do is I will write this entire thing in a single line, like cout, then this, and double quote the value of alpha is, and then I'll write A, and then I'll write A, this variable name. Now let's run this program, and this is how you can write everything in single line in terms of cout. Oh, sorry, our variable is alpha. So let's run this program. So here we got the value of alpha is A. See, this is more understandable. So you can make this program, your program more understandable by writing things like writing more things like in the cout. Now, since the start, we were declaring single variable in a single line. Now, what if I want to take 20 variables at a time? Then I can take that too in a single line like I did for cout. So what I will do is, suppose I want to take 5 variables of integer type, then what I will do, I will declare int a1, comma, int a2, comma, int a3, comma, int a4, comma, int a5. So this is how I can declare 5 variables in a single line. I can initialize this variable as well one by one. And it's your choice if you want to initialize any variable or not. Here I'm initializing so that I can cout them as well. So when I will cout them, I can do this Like I can see out multiple variables in a single line as well. So we can see out all the variables as well. For now, I am removing this so that we can understand the output better. So here's our output 0, 1, 2. Right now, this is not clear, right? So what we can add is we can add one space, like this is a space between. Since my string is my double quotes are containing nothing and they are containing just a space, that's why it will give a space between my outputs. Yeah, now it is more clear, I guess. I have 0, then the space, then 1, then space. You can see out like this as well. So now you got the idea how you can see out multiple things in a single line, how you can declare and initialize or define multiple variables in a single line. Similarly, you can see in different things in a single line as well. Let's see how we can do this. Let's take two integer num1 and num2. Now, let's take their values from with the help of scene. So this is for second, and for the second variable, I'll do this, and this is how I can take input for the multiple values. See out it as well so that we get the idea better, and we will include the space in between both of them so that our output we get a clear output. Also, if you want like these in different lines, then you can add here NL. NL will end this line of the output, and then your next output will be printed in next line. First we got 0, 1, 2. Then it is asking for the input from me for num1 and 2 and num2. I'll give 12 and 24 here, and I got the output as 12 and 24. So this is how you can give multiple you can give input for multiple variables. Now we come let's come on to data type modifiers. If I want to increase the value of my int, the range of my int, then I can use data type modifier long in front of it, and then I can write the data type and can make the data type. This is how now it will the value of a the range of a will be increased to long int, and this is how you declare a data type modifier. This is how you use a data type modifier. Also, I can use unsigned in with this as well. So that's all for this video. If you like this video, then please do like, share, and subscribe, and also post your queries in the comment section below. We would love to answer your queries. Thank you.